Hey everyone, how's it going? In this tutorial, we're gonna go through all the configuration for SMS for all. Begin using this open source for sending unlimited SMS text messages. So let's get started. First of all, we're gonna need to visit the official website, and everything begins with the README on the backend API. So let's open up that one in the GitHub repository, and let's begin with the cloning process. So I'm gonna open up my terminal and just copy and paste the clone command. After the cloning process finishes, you need to cd into that folder, and we're gonna begin creating and migrating our database. And also we need to duplicate the m variables so we can tweak and change some values like Firebase project ID. And yeah, remember to pay attention to some of the nodes. You need to run Redis, and in this case I'm going to be running the server in the port 3030 so we can see if everything is working as expected, and this is the image we should see. So let's visit the local host on that port, and in fact we can see that everything is working as expected. So let's continue with the rest of the README instructions, and we are using RSpec, and we can run our test by running this command, and as we can see, yeah, everything is green here. So Firebase Cloud Messaging is an important key part of the architecture, so we can keep a live communication with all our devices, and we can send messages using any backend. In this case, we are using Ruby, so the gem FCM is the one we're gonna use. So now we need to configure our Firebase account. If you don't have that, you need to create one, but in this case, I have one. This package is important to keep in mind when creating the Android application. So first of all, let's begin with creating a new project. I'm gonna call it SMS for All Live Video Test Demo. And we're gonna use the default Google Analytics account. And this is gonna take a few seconds. So in the meanwhile, let's keep looking into the README instructions, and we will need to download the google-credentials.json file, so we can place that in our Android source code later. Also the SDK, so we can send messages using any backend language. So this is very important to copy and paste exactly the same, or you might have some issues later. Or you can later change that package name if you want. And remember to download the Google services.json file. Click on next, and we already set up this one on our Android application. And it is important thing about cloud messaging. We can click directly here, or we can follow some of the other tutorials here for the configuration and credentials. In this case, there is also different ways to do the same. I'm gonna go to project settings, and you can add or remove this Android application if you want. And also, as I mentioned, there is this tutorial. It's another way to generate your SDK credentials, but there is by visiting the Google Cloud Console. But in this case, in the project setting, we have that option directly here called service accounts. You can use as different languages. So let's begin by generating this private key, and let's download that because we're gonna need it later. So at this point, if you follow those steps, you may have two JSON files actually, one for the SDK and then the other one for the Android application. And as we are using some encrypted values for the Rails application, we need to edit that file using the Rails credential edit command. So you're gonna open this one in your favorite editor, and then you may need to copy and paste the values that you have for your SDK admin JSON file. So let's say that you already did that. So the next part is about connecting the Android app. Now that we have some credentials from Firebase, and also we need to find a way to make our API accessible. In this case, I'm using Embark. I'm using the free plan, so you can claim your own kind of public and static domain for that. And yeah, you need to development environment file, just as mentioned in the README. And in this case, this is the one that Embark is offering me. And remember to run this command in the right port. So 3030 based on the README instructions. And as we are not running the server, let's run it again. And now if we visit the Embark static URL, we should see the same response from our API. And now it's the time for the repository for the front-end client. It's using React. And let's follow all the instructions as well. First of all, we need to clone the repository. Let's give it a second and cd into that folder that you just cloned. And yeah, let's follow the instructions. Here we need to replace the API URL with your own value. In my case is this one. And now we need to install the dependencies and run the yarn server. It's installing everything, and now it's gonna be the time for the actual application to run. Let's give it a minute. Okay, so here we are. This is the application. If we look into the Rails server logs, we're gonna see that we are making this request. And also, the first thing we need to do is to register a new account. I'm using a fake phone number here, and also a placeholder email using mailinator.com. I select the same password twice, and at this point we will need to grab the pin code from the Rails logs. This is only for development, and once we provide that value, we are going to be able to see our panel. So, and at this point, we're able to connect the React application and the Rails server. And the next part is about the actual Android application. Here is the source code, and we're gonna also clone. In my case, I already went ahead and did that, so I just need to open up this one, and there are some files we will need to update, and then rebuild the project. So let's go to the README file and see those steps. But first, yeah, I'm gonna go to my folder. I using the Android Studio projects folder in my case. And as we mentioned, we downloaded the google-services.json. As I was making other tests, I added a previous one, so I remove it. And so, the cloning, it's already done. You open the Android, and then as we did before, the Firebase, the project, and then the google-services.json file. It's the important part also. So let's copy that one from downloads. It should go in the app folder. So we paste it, it's fine. And actually there is a typo here. It's Gradle, not great. So gradle.properties, and let's open this file. That's why it's not great, it's Gradle properties. Let's remove that typo. Gradle. This one, we should see this base URL production and staging and variables, constants. And here we're gonna paste the same Embark URL so we can connect that. And remember to rebuild the project so all the dependencies and the new values are considered in the next generation. So this is the actual production URL we're using for the Android application. And remember also to select the right variant, which is prod debug. And after all is set, we need to generate the app, the APK package. So go to build bundles, and build APKs. And in my case, it's gonna be super fast because I'm generating a lot of them. So, and here it is. You need to locate, and this is gonna open up your package ready to be installed. In my case, in order to make it available for any of my Android devices, I'm using Google Drive. So basically, I upload that into a personal account, then I generate the public URL, and then I just share that with my devices via chat or via a message, and then I'm able to download that. So let's assume that you did that. You are able to download the APK application in your devices. So let's continue. And this is how it's gonna look after you downloaded that using your Android. It's gonna ask you to install it, then you click on install. Let me show you how the actual URL looks. So this is, in my case, the debug application. And so you install that, and then after that you will see this warning. Don't worry, it's just expected. And you need to allow the SMS messages permissions. Also about this pin code, now we need to create a new hub in our React application so we can generate one pin code and we can activate properly that device. So let's go to the localhost 3000 port and go to add new device. And this is my very first one, so we're gonna use this pin code here. And once you enter that one, you will see the actual logs. But basically, you will see that in the logs it was activated, and then you will see that your application is now running as expected in your Android device. You will see some logs for that. Some messages are going to be sent using Firebase and all the connection. And if we reload the page, we will see that now it was activated, so which is fine. And also we go to the list messages, we will see there was a message there. And now we can actually try to send to other devices, and that's gonna show us that the application is working as expected, and now we can send also them via the interface of the application, or we can use the API directly with that base using the right token and credentials. And that's something we can show you. So basically these are the keys you will need, and there are some examples we can review, including curl, Ruby or PHP, Python or Node.js. And basically, yeah, it's a post request to one of the endpoints. If you provide the right values and credentials, you should be able to enqueue messages. I guess that's pretty much about this tutorial. I hope you didn't get any troubles, and if you had any, please let me know. I can help with that. Also, if you don't want to really download the Android application, you can ask me to generate one APK ready to install with your own domain. So you just need to begin playing with the Rails backend and the front end if you want. But yeah, willing to help with that. If you are having troubles or if you are not familiar with Android at all, please let me know. I hope you find useful this tutorial, and see you guys on the next one.